tops on, singing to that highway song. Got a little naive smile, the kind that drives you out. Nothing like playing with fire, brings forward alive. Be where the fuse you light, you're good, you're dynamite. You made my day when you walked into town beside me, whispered with your eyes, let's go. You made me say, what's your name, girl, you're lonely. Can I call you if I ever go down this road? And I can't.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for this 27th day of June 2023. Today's show is brought to you by Caldera Lab and calderalab.com. Get 20% off their all natural men's skincare products, the best in the business from calderalab.com. By using promo code 1420LAB at checkout today, and keep that youthful exuberance and protect your skin all summer long. It works wonders on my mug. For those of you who are watching on YouTube and everything else, and who see me around town, it's great. It's a great product. I love it very much. It's something I never thought I'd use, but Caldera Lab. I won't talk about that for half a second. Anyways, remember we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com. Check out all the other great podcasts that are on bellyupsports.com, part of the Belly Up Media Network, and great articles that are there for all your sports needs today. And thank you for making us a part of your morning each and every day. And it's noon today, so sorry about that. Had a lot of baseball stuff going on this morning, so I couldn't get right at her as I usually like to do for you guys. But anyways, we're here, and we're here to talk some sports. Anyways, the National Hockey League Awards were handed out last night, and to nobody's surprise, Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers, superstar Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers, won the Hart Trophy as NHL's most valuable player after his 153-point performance. Unbelievable year he had, 64 goals, 89 assists, numbers for the ages, unbelievable year that he had, 25 points ahead of his teammate, great hockey player in his own right, Leon Draisaitl, another former Hart Trophy winner, if you remember a few years back, and 40 points ahead of Boston Bruins forward who had a great year with 60-plus goals. I think he had as well. David Pastrnak of the 139 points, whatever the Bruins had this year with their unbelievable season that ended up in disarray, as we all know, to the Florida Panthers in the first round, stunning upset in the first round in 7 games. What was surprising, what turned out last night when the awards were given out and the voters, the votes were handed out, everybody kind of just figured that McDavid was a unanimous 100% guaranteed lock. All the votes would be in, all the votes would be tallied, pointing in Connor McDavid's direction. But turns out there was one guy, one of the 196 voters, who didn't vote for McDavid as the MVP. He voted for Pastrnak and said, at the time I'm recording this, I don't really know who the guy is or what his agenda might have been to say that Connor McDavid wasn't the. Why do you always have to say Connor McDavid? It's just one of those things. You can't just say McDavid. But that McDavid was the unanimous 100% guaranteed Hart Trophy winner. How someone could vote to anybody else but him is a bit of a mystery to me. But what's even more of a mystery to me is how this voter, for whoever his name is, he didn't even have McDavid as second. He had McDavid down as low as fifth. If you can name me 5 National Hockey League players that had better, or 4 that had better seasons than Connor McDavid, then I got some oceanfront property to sell you in Arizona, or whatever that saying is. It's quite astonishing that somebody would do this. Someone would say that. I can give you maybe a second because Pastrnak had the 60-goal season, the season that the Bruins did have, but to say McDavid is fifth is absolutely asinine. It's completely ridiculous that somebody would vote for him to be in that situation where he would not be first, and at the very, 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 very least, a very close second, and that's being quite generous. McDavid was by far the best player in the National Hockey League this season. He had a season for the ages. There hasn't been many 150-point guys over the years, other than Gretzky and Lemieux back in the 1980s, where they were putting up 200-point season. But now the era adjusted points, I don't know how they do that, but there is a stat for the analytics guys have, and the nerds have out there. They have it all figured out that McDavid's had one of the best offensive seasons of all time, and you can't argue with that. With the stuff that he was doing throughout the season, it's quite crazy that anybody would even think to not vote for McDavid as the unanimous decision to have all 196 votes and take that home with him. I mean, it doesn't much matter that he. The one voter, it doesn't much matter who this guy is, what his agenda might be. Was it for clickbait? Was it for attention? Probably. There's no other reason for something like that. Maybe he'll get his day in the sun. He'll get his 15 minutes of fame like everybody's trying to do on social media and everything else. So maybe that's something he was trying to accomplish by having that kind of a vote out there and saying this, and when he wants people to hear his agenda, he gets clicks, he gets this and that. When it's all said and done, wherever this guy is from, I would assume he's probably from Boston, but I should never assume, because if you assume, it makes you look like an asshole. It's not the other saying, makes an ass out of you and me. No, it makes you look like an asshole. But assumptions are kind of what make podcasts go and everything else. But for this guy, he's going to get the attention that he wanted. It's going to be negative attention. He's going to get a lot of hate mail per se, and it's not going to come across nearly as well as he hoped it would. It's just one of those things where guys do it. You remember back when Derek Jeter, he always comes back to Jeter somehow, some way here at 14:20 in the morning. But you remember when Jeter went in the Hall of Fame, there was one guy who didn't vote for him to be a unanimous entry into the Hall of Fame. There's been, I think, one guy ever to get that honor, and that was Mariano Rivera, his long-term teammate with the New York Yankees. But you remember there was that one guy who said, no, Jeter's not an all-time Hall of Famer. He's not a guy going in first ballot. And we talk about Hall of Fame a lot, and you can start adding this conversation about trophies and trophy cases and the whole bit to that conversation. But for this guy to say that he wasn't the 100% going in or getting the Hart Trophy, it's crazy to think that would even be a thing. We've talked about in the past, like, it's nice to get these trophies at the end of the year and be recognized by your peers, by the writers, and the other trophies that he got last night. He knew he was going to get the leading scorer one and the rest. But to be recognized, it's a nice thing to get these trophies and put them up on your mantle. And he's got that big mansion in Edmonton, and I think he just got engaged as well. So he's got some little mementos and everything else he can put up there, and the replica trophies he gets to put up on his mantle. He's got some Art Ross trophies. He's got some the Hart trophies and everything else going on there. But I think he would probably trade it all in 100% for a replica Stanley Cup on his mantle at his place in Edmonton and a Stanley Cup ring. These trophies are nice, and it's a nice thing to have, and you can put it on the resume because you're going to the Hall of Fame. They'll say that how many trophies you won, how many of this you got. Your plaque is on that trophy forever, and you're part of history for sure. But I'm sure that he would trade all those things in, as most players would. I would hope. Most players aren't playing for MVPs and scoring titles. It all comes around with it. And McDavid is one of the top players to ever play the game. He's the most talented. He's the most talented player, the best player to ever play the game. He's not the greatest, but he's the best to ever play the game. I mean, 10, 20 years from now, there might be some other kid that comes around the corner and can skate faster, because we never thought that anybody would do what Pavel Bure was skating that fast years ago and the like. And you never thought you would see numbers put up by Gretzky and Lemieux, but the error adjusted numbers that McDavid's putting up are right there, right? So it's one of those things you don't know what you're going to get, but I'm fairly certain that Connor McDavid would way rather have himself a Stanley Cup trophy and a Stanley Cup ring and parade that thing around the city of Edmonton and have a good time doing that, because you look at what the Vegas Golden Knights were doing, having a good time with that trophy. I thought that their celebration a week and a half ago was a little bit over the top for being on television and having kids in the audience, but that's Vegas. They have that right, I guess. But eventually, you do have to grow up a little bit and maybe sober up just a touch when you're going out in the public like that, even in Las Vegas. It's one of those things. But you just wonder, like I said, this guy who decided to vote for somebody else, which was Pasternak, and put him fifth. I don't know who the other guys that he voted ahead of McDavid, but I'd like to do a little research on that and see who this guy is and why he would do that. It's for clicks. It's for for people talking about him, because that's, I guess, what we all try to do, is get a little bit of momentum there behind your show and have people talk about you and have everything going else. Because I can't think of any other reason why he would have done that. People that maybe click on his articles, Professional Hockey Writers of Association, you just wonder why he would do this and be such an outlandish take. Like there's screaming hot takes, and then there's just stupid takes, and this one was an absolutely stupid take that this guy had. I will read why he did it, or maybe, I mean, more clicks, more money he gets. That's kind of how it all works. But you just wonder why he would do that. And as far as the other awards go, I didn't pay much attention to who won any other ones. I don't really care about these award shows at the end of the season. Once the hockey season's over, we start talking about free agency and everything else, and then the draft is here this week as well. But you start reading about stuff a little bit more hockey related, and there's a lot of trades going on. So that piques my interest a lot more. What's going on in the National Hockey League at this in the summer months. But you look at this awards ceremony last night, and Erik Karlsson of the San Jose Sharks, he won his third Norris Trophy last night, which signifies the best defenseman in the National Hockey League. I think once again, this is the second time this word. I think that's only the second time in the history of the 1420 Sports Bar podcast for 1420 in the morning, brought to you by Belly Up Sports. The word asinine is brought up again. It is completely asinine that a guy on a team that had 22 wins last season would end up with an award, and especially an award for the best defenseman. He couldn't have been that great of a defenseman if they only had 22 wins. It's absolutely ridiculous that they give that award to the guy, no matter what, pretty much, who has the most points as a defenseman. What he did defensively couldn't have been that good. Yes, the rest of the team is bad. Yes, you don't have guys stopping pucks behind you. Yes. I agree with it, that Karlsson had one of the best defenseman seasons by a defenseman points-wise in National Hockey League history. But I have trouble giving that award to a player who's on a team that absolutely stunk. It doesn't make sense how anybody could say this is the guy who's the best defenseman. Yes, I know it's an individualistic award. I totally understand that. For him to get that award doesn't make any sense to me. And they got to maybe just make it real simple, change things up a little bit. They've added different trophies over the years. They added the Maurice Richard for the most goals, the most goal award. They added the Ted Lindsay for the players who vote on as the most outstanding player in the National Hockey League, which McDavid got it as well. But what they need to just do, make it really sweet, make it really simple. Here's the Bobby Orr Trophy, number 4, Bobby Orr. Even put a Bruins jersey on him, whatever it might be. The Bruins, the Bobby Orr Trophy, the highest scoring defenseman, and there's your award. There it is. Pretty simple. And then give one out for the best defenseman, because there's no way that Erik Karlsson could have been the best defensive defenseman, because you already have a defensive forward award in the Selke, so why not have a defensive defenseman award? It only makes sense. It only makes it fair for guys who maybe can't they don't move the puck that well. They don't do things a certain way, but they're defensemen like Charlie Huddy. I don't think Charlie Huddy's winning any awards anytime soon. Obviously, he's a award, and people who are my vintage know who Charlie Huddy is. He was a defenseman for the Oilers back in the day, stay-at-home kind of a guy, didn't put up a lot of points on those Oilers teams. But guys like that who don't skate as well, and they're great defensemen, like a Niedermeyer was a great defenseman. Pronger was a great defenseman. They put up points, but their job was to play defense. That's more what I think that award should go to. So the NHL, if you're listening to 1420 in the morning, anybody who's involved in that, may pass a note on to Mr. Gary Bettman and have a solution to that little problem, supplied by yours truly, figuring out all the problems in the sporting world one morning at a time here at 1420 in the morning. Brought to you by Caldera Lab and calderalab.com. Use promo code 1420lab at calderalab.com. Little word from our sponsor. What do we got here? Summer is here, gentlemen, and as the sun shines brighter, your skin deserves the utmost attention. Fortunately, our friends at Caldera Lab are here to ensure your skin is well prepared for the season ahead. Ever since I incorporated Caldera Lab into my routine, taking care of my skin has never been simpler. Their products are clinically proven and help visibly reduce wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. Gain confidence and an impeccable first impression this summer. Don't miss out on joining the skincare revolution trusted by countless men. Use code 1420lab at calderalab.com/1420lab to enjoy an exclusive 20% off their finest products. Go to Caldera Lab. It's the great stuff. It's fantastic. It works like a damn all night long. You put the the clean slate you wash your face with, you put on the base layer, and then you put the good on later on that night before you go to bed. Takes care of the wrinkles, takes care of all the sun problems, everything else that we put our skin through in the summer months. But make sure you go to Caldera Lab, save yourself 20%. It's well worth it. It's not something that like I said, I ever thought I would use, but it's come in very handy for my skin care. As you get a little bit older, got to start taking things care a little bit more. Anyways, let's go to Brent's best bet, brought to you by Bodog. Make a play tonight at Bodog. I've got a 4-game parlay for you guys today. I think this one's actually going to do very well. Stuttering a little bit there for some reason. I think this one's going to do very well. Make a play at Bodog tonight. I got the Jays continuing their inconsistent play this season at home to San Francisco, even with their stud Kevin Gausman on the hill. Take Yu Darvish and the San Diego Padres to defeat Pittsburgh at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, as the Padres need to start packing some wins together, or else their playoff hopes are going to be gone by the time they got to salvage the season somehow. And the halfway point is just around the corner. I think a lot of teams will be 81 by Thursday. The Milwaukee Brewers will win their second in a row over the Mets tonight in Flushing, Queen. The Mets woes continue, and add the Buck Showalter watch. I don't think he makes the All-Star break once that comes around in a couple of weeks. I think Showalter's going to find himself on the outside looking in. And to finish things off, take the Baltimore Orioles to be the Cincinnati Red in the battle, the biggest surprise in baseball at the midpoint of this Major League Baseball season. Put down $20, win yourself $256.23 at Bodog by clicking on our link and getting a $400 sign-up bonus today at Bodog. Make a play at Bodog, but remember to play responsibly, and don't spend what you don't have, people. Don't spend what you don't have at Bodog. Anyways, today's show has been great. Thank you very much for listening to the show. That's it for today. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's see if we can get 200 subscribers by the end of the month. I know it's a grind and everything else, so there's a lot to it. Visit our online shop. Get yourself some new shirts and shorts and hats for the summer months. We got everything else out there. Barbecue, aprons, the whole bit. It's all there at our online shop. And enjoy some past episodes of the show. Talk to people about the show and everything else, and make sure you guys are enjoying us when you're out there fishing. Put us in your ears. You're out going to a ball game, sitting around the fire, or whatever you're doing during the summer, or traveling to ball games, whatever you got going on. Listen to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast, wherever it is you get your podcast, and make sure you watch us on YouTube as well and see our glowing faces everywhere else. Me and Dave are doing a show tomorrow night. Wednesday night, baseball kind of not screwing things up, but we're off our schedule. I back out to beautiful Brooks, Alberta tonight for a WCBL game, so that should be a lot of fun. But that's it. That's it for today's show. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching on YouTube. But remember, most importantly, as always, remember, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have yourself a great day, folks, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 beer with sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.